Hey guys, I wanted to make a quick little point. Not really, I guess you could argue it's not proof, but to strongly suggest a reality that people deny and yet show evidence of every day. Is every day I hear people talk about, well, not this specifically, but things in general. They always have something negative to say about their life, their world, their hometown, even though they haven't really left their hometown, or they haven't left their state, or they haven't even left the goddamn continent yet. They isolate themselves in their own man-made world and then talk about the world being samsara or hell. Oh, I don't have to worry about going to hell. I'm already there. Blah, blah, blah. Here's something that a lot of people don't realize. When I say people are anti-nature, this is what I mean, because at one point I bring to people to show that the world isn't the problem, they are, is that tell me about your afterlife. And each and every time they tell me about their afterlife, at least 80 or 90% of the time, it's forest, a desert oasis, a snowy tundra with elk and eagles flying around, or whatever it is. It's a beautiful, lavish jungle full of birds and animals. It's mainly forests, they say, and then they'll say animals, right? And if they say houses and castles, and it's always surrounded by some natural landscape, right? And rarely ever is it like something that is devoid of nature, right? And it's funny to me, right? I've asked pagans what their afterlife is, and they're like hunting, living off the land. And I'm like, oh, so things that you've avoided all the way up until this point, is that what you're trying to say to me? People seem to think that the world is horrible, so they don't engage in things worth being engaged in. And this is like chicken and egg. Are they not engaging in it because they believe that if they gave into it, they would be part of the problem? Or because they just simply don't know what the world is actually like? So are they blind to the world, or have they blinded themselves to the world? I guess that comes down to semantics. But it's weird that most people conceptualize the afterlife and their escape from this horrible world as something that they could literally just walk down the street, or if they live too much in the city, they could just take a bus, they could get an Uber, they could get a friend to drive them, they could drive themselves. We're talking places that are either in walking distance or driving distance. I don't think there's anywhere on earth in which, going into nature is the distance of a plane. Maybe boat, right? Even then, find a boat. If you're feeling daring, hop on a train. Yeah, I know that's illegal, but do it. Have fun. Yeah, but no. People hate this world because of what they made. Money doesn't exist. It's man-made. Money does not exist in nature. Clothing doesn't exist in nature. Status, man-made thing, doesn't exist. Time doesn't exist. Everything that you could think of, philosophy itself doesn't exist. And you're like, so why are you into philosophy? Why do you try to keep track of your time? Why are you working towards money? Well, that relates to the astral vampirism bit of this channel. There is a collective playwright, in my opinion. Like, people are so ingrained into man-made ideas, and I think it's just fun. And I think man-made ideas can be practical. if they're rooted in nature. I'm not saying that we have to discard every invention, because it is our nature to invent, but if it's rooted in nature, that's good. But when we disconnect it from nature, it leads us to living in delusion, being blind, right? And then we destroy so much of nature, and then we build this world we made for ourselves, or rather, a small group of people have made for themselves, and we just have to live in it. The It seems like the more and more we go away from nature, not even talking about forests, I'm just talking about like the nature of everything. Um, the further we only exclusively view this world the way we made it, or the way we've made it for ourselves. But it's like the Truman Show. It's weird. Every day you wake up in hell. I wake up in heaven. It's because your brain is emaciated. You're suffering. Your body, your hormones are messed up. And if you just simply drank raw milk, if you drank blood, ate raw fat, ate raw muscle, ate raw kidneys, things like that, if you actually like consumed food that was healthy for you, and like suntanned naked, and walked through the forest, and like did some bird watching, the world wouldn't seem that bad, right? And it's because we've created such a complicated situation for ourselves that everyone's looking for complicated answers through religion, philosophy. They're trying to find some deeper purpose. Yeah, I believe in a deeper purpose. I talk and break down my traditions, virtues, things like that. But the most complicated of the things I believe are rooted in nature. And that's just a conscientious reflection upon the instinct. And the instinct is simple. Down to it, we're animals. And if we understand that things are simple at base, and that existence is simple, you're not selling yourself out. You're not betraying anything. In fact, you're doing the opposite, So I don't know. I think that's an important thing to make. The world is perfect. It literally gives us everything we need, everything we could ever want. And then we create our own artificial notion of it, in which we want everything and we get nothing. So I don't know. I don't think you have to die to go to heaven. I just think we're already there, The hell that you live in is a hell that you made for yourself. You are the Greek dude pushing the boulder up and down the hill. And, I listen to my friends that talk about how much they hate this world. And, I listen, but I don't really sympathize. I empathize because I know what it's like to feel that myself. But, you start to really kind of like slap yourself in the face when you realize the deeper meaning of everything. And you're like, oh, I fought so hard just to realize that it's simple. Eat good food, have kids, be a part of community. It's such a simple thing, But anyways, oh, my kitty's snuggling with me. She's a snuggler. Hello. Oh my goodness. Anyways, yeah. So, I don't know. There's, it's just when people describe their idea of paradise, they basically describe a world that is already here, and then they try to come up with excuses when you call them out on it. It's like, no, you're hoping that by dying you can make up for your lack of initiative. That's not how it works. If you're lazy and then you don't have the motivation to go do the thing that is worth doing, and then you say everything is evil and fucked up because this world is terrible, because the result is you staying in a bad situation, an abusive relationship, whatever it is, an abusive relationship with human society, just because you're lazy, that's your fault. So when you say, oh, don't have kids, the world's horrible, it's ending, keep your shit to yourself. I will have as many kids as I damn well please. I'll keep going at her till she can't produce anymore. Are you fucking kidding me? Step off, And the one thing I do like about these people is they do end their own lives. And that's good because it cuts the wheat from the chaff, right? Because if there are those that are like, look at this sacred, beautiful world we live in, and they can't enjoy it because they've actively chosen to be a tumor, I love when they end it, because that leaves room in the gene pool for those who live a healthy way of life and have better genetics to have healthier, happier children. The only way in which someone can't enjoy life, in which I can't fault them for, is being born genetically weak and being unable to find a good way to make up for it. I don't think they should have to make up for it. I believe, again, society is messed up. We don't know how to run it. If we had a society based in nature, we would only allow healthy children to be born, and there wouldn't be this existential panic, because we would only allow people to eat healthy food. And we would also severely punish antisocial behavior. So everyone would have a community. Everyone would have a family. Everyone would have a designated friend group. Even if you had a hard time, we'd make you have friends. We'd make you have family. We'd put you to work. And through work, you would earn salvation. And, no one would be alone, people that want their parents to be sent away to nursing homes so they can spend time with their kids, and then their parents can die of elderly abuse and neglect. Those people would be charged with a felony, federal crime. The state would basically pay for these old people, and find responsible family members that care about the elderly, give them custody, and actually have the state pay them to take care of them, whether in hospice or the long run. But it's weird. We have a society that's become predatory on a solitary level. Even though we as a species, we are predators. We have forward-facing eyes. We're killers, bloodthirsty marauders. But we kill as a family, right? We're family killers. Our families kill other families. So when we kill our own family, things are really fucked up. So yeah, it's weird. While we're strong, we leave everyone else to the wolves. But then when we're old, people leave us to the wolves. And that's a completely man-made thing. In nature, we don't do that. So yeah, nature is perfect, right? Everything that we have tried to do contrary and counter to our own nature and the nature of the world has failed. But every empire, every social tradition, every economic practice, every man-made thing, every man-made philosophy that we say, okay, nature is better than this, but we've designed this to improve upon what's already there. That's perfect. You can build utopia that way. But you can't by being like, oh, look at this nasty animalistic primordial womb. We're so sophisticated. And it's like, yep, all right, I'm leaving.